Hello RaysWorks. I'll keep this video short. I'll explain the fundamentals of my idea first. I'll try to keep that quick. And then if you have time to keep watching, I'll give some more details and also some insight into my newest version of this idea. I think the best way to explain it is to go through some mechanics first. So, firstly, arrows shot from a piercing crossbow. Remember how many times it has hit an entity. All arrows know who they are shot by, obviously. Arrows being unloaded or traveling through a portal forget how many entities they have hit. So this applies to piercing arrows. I think it's a bug, but for my sake I'm going to call it a feature. Then arrows forget they have piercing when they hit the ground, unfortunately. And mobs wearing thorns armor can damage players shooting them. So these features combined can lead to some pretty funky stuff. For example, here we have my arrow constantly going through 5 zombified piglin wearing full sets of thorns armor. They are also constantly being healed by this witch, so they don't die. These pistons are extending on a timer to give every zombified piglin some healing, so I don't have to use 4 witches. And when I go into survival mode, you can see, let me just game rule keep inventory true. This kills me pretty quickly. No matter where I am. I'm 1,000 blocks away now, but I'm still being murdered. And if I'm wearing full netherite armor, if it was protection 4, this is fire protection. If I was wearing full protection 4 netherite armor, it would take about 5 minutes for my helmet to break from the thorns, and then I would die due to not being able to regenerate health fast enough with normal regeneration. The only way to survive this is to have some kind of resistance, eating god apples or normal apples, normal golden apples. Let me just switch to creative again. So you might wonder how you can get someone's arrow from a piercing crossbow. Well, it's actually pretty easy. You just have to get them into an arena like this and challenge them to a crossbow duel. And let's say I miss. I've just captured their arrow from a piercing crossbow. And these will not despawn because they're in bubble columns. And I have successfully pulled this off on a small anarchy server before, quite recently, with this version of my farm or machine. These are 7 versions from the earliest design to the latest. So I just went on the server, found the biggest opponent, challenged them to an inconspicuous crossbow duel, and now I have an alt online who is loading the farm, and that player can no longer join, so if they do, they will automatically get killed. That's the idea. I have seen someone use the thorns combined with arrows before, a long time ago, but back then crossbows weren't a thing, and they had a really hard time convincing their opponents to basically give them a bunch of arrows, because they were not recycling the same arrow. Therefore their machine was also not infinite. It ran out eventually of arrows. But because I can recycle the arrow with piercing and reset its piercing counter, this will work forever. One limitation is the armor durability on the zombified piglins. After about 30 minutes, their helmet will break, and depending on how fast you regenerate the zombified piglins, with how much splash potions of instant damage you give them, they might eventually die without their armor. But obviously, more important than that, without their thorns armor, them taking damage will be useless. Now I come to my newest iteration. This is the only machine that can damage more than one player at a time. See here I have 10 channels of 5 zombified piglins. They're 5 on top of each other because, as you might know, piercing and piercing arrow can hit the amount of numbers or pass through the amount of mobs of the piercing level plus 1. So this is piercing 4, which means an arrow shot from a piercing 4 crossbow can pass through 5 mobs and still exist. Upon hitting the 6th mob, the arrow will disappear. But not if you reset its counter by shooting the arrow through the portal or unloading it. Now, about the armor, I wanted to have something completely AFKable. So this has auto armor mending every 30 minutes or just before 30 minutes. The farm will stop itself, or the machine will stop itself. It will dispense a new armor set on all of these zombified piglins. It will collect all of the almost completely broken armor pieces down here, send them off to me to auto AFK in this guardian farm, because a guardian farm is actually the only XP farm fast enough because of orb limits per second to heal or to completely mend 50 armor sets in 30 minutes. And then I automatically get killed, respawn here, get a bunch of armor sets, mend those, then I get murdered again, where the fresh armor set or the completely mended armor set gets sent back into the system to wait until the next 30 minutes where another change is required. Other than that, this is the version I've used successfully on an Anarchy server. This is the first one that had the witches for the damage potions. Before that, I was still using villagers, which you can't heal unless you give them like splash potions of healing. But that's quite expensive to keep a farm running with a bunch of splash potions of healing or regenerations. That's the main idea. This is what the portal setup looks like in the Nether. So this is the portal it will be entering. This is the first portal the arrow will go through once it enters the Nether, and it immediately shoots into the second portal, shooting the arrow up from there to there, or in this case from there to there. That's basically it.